Hello, my book friends. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Carly. This is Let's Read Into It. It's time. I'm so excited to finally see if all the hype is worth it in this book. If you've been living under a rock, this is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. It's been everywhere. Everybody on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, everybody has been talking about this book and how absolutely amazing it is. And I need to know if that's correct. Like, my friend read it and finished it really quickly. She loved it and she said she was still thinking about it days after finishing. And I cannot wait. I've heard people say it's better than ACOTAR. It's on par with ACOTAR. And I'm like, how? This is like the first book. How is this on par? Or better than? Like, I am really, really excited, and I saw that like the pre-sale or whatever for the second book comes out in November. I'm like, oh shit, I gotta get on it. I've got to see what this is about. Like, I was able to pick this up actually like a week before it was even officially out. You know how sometimes Barnes & Noble like puts things out early? I saw this on a table like at the end of April, and so like a week or so before it came out, and I loved the sprayed edges, and I read the blurb and it sounded really good, so I went ahead and picked it up because I was not going to miss out on it. And I'm so thankful now because I've been seeing people having a really hard time getting this book, and I know only the first batch has the sprayed edges, so I was in luck. But I'm really excited, and this is going to be the first romantasy I've read in a while. I've been on a romance kick, which is fine, but I need to get going with some of these fantasies I have on my TBR, and this has to be the first one. Everybody has been talking about it, and I want to know what it is. I want to know what has people in a chokehold on this book. So I'm going to be reading this week. Is it going to take me a week? Probably not. Let's see how long it will take me, but I'm really excited about reading this. I'm going to take you along on this journey. I'm going to make it as spoiler-free as possible. If I happen to say anything that may be a spoiler, I'll let you know beforehand so you can skip on ahead. But we are going to be reading Fourth Wing. I'm really excited. If you've already read it, let me know down in the comments what you thought about it. Keep it spoiler-free. If you want to spoil it for me, just put spoiler alert and I will still read it. But let me know down in the comments what you thought if you've already read this book. And if you're not already subscribed, please hit that subscribe button as well as the bell to notify you when I upload. I upload every week, rambling about nonsense and books. Obviously about books. So let's go ahead and get started reading Fourth Wing. Okay, so it's the next day. I got through a good chunk of Fourth Wing last night. Let me give you my first impressions. I'm absolutely loving it. I had to stop myself because I'm Like, it's hooked me. I do want to say, if you are into like the in-depth world building, so far I'm not seeing that in this. Like, you are thrown in. Like, you are figuring stuff out on your own, kind of with the main character, where she expected this and she's getting something else, if that makes sense. So if you're expecting like a lot of world building, you're not necessarily getting that. You're very much thrown into the deep end and you're figuring everything out as you go. If there's more world building, maybe later in the book, I don't know, just haven't seen it yet. But I got to chapter 7, I want to say. Yes, chapter 7. Again, I'm going to try to make it as spoiler free as possible. First thing, I'm loving Violet. Violet, in my opinion, she's a great female lead. She's taking what has been thrown at her and she's trying to make the best of it. She thought she was going to be doing one thing. She's doing something else. And like her daily mantra is like, I'm not dying today. And I'm like, I like that girl. Like, she is not letting anything stop her. She does not like when people doubt her, think that she's weak. I love it. I think that sends a really good message. I'm guessing, met our asshole of the book. And I am shocked that no one is like talking about his actions. I'm like, are we all just, okay, like, we're just gonna ignore it? Okay. Like, I texted my friend, I'm like, what the fuck? She's like, yeah. I was just like, all right. So we met that person. We met some other characters that I'm intrigued by. I'm just loving it. Chapter 7, it's not that far in, but like, a lot has happened. Like, the first test is what I'll say. Anxiety inducing. I will say that. I had anxiety while I was reading it. I was just like, oh my God, what's gonna happen? It's almost like watching an episode of Game of Thrones, because you're like, someone's gonna die, right? Because they keep saying it. They're like, you may die. Like, things are happening. And you're like, oh, all right, cool. I did see where somebody compared Fourth Wing to like Divergent, like had Divergent themes. And I love Divergent, and I get that from what they're saying, because there's different schools and you have to pick. But not necessarily, like, Divergent, I'm pretty sure, like, spoiler if you've never read Divergent, but when you pick, you're not allowed to associate with, like, if you're from another, like, faction, you can't, like, go and talk with them again, from what I remember. But I'm pretty sure they can talk to the other quadrants, is what they're called. I'm pretty sure they can talk to them, but not necessarily, like, go back. Violet's mom, I'll say that. I'm interested to see what else, like, we're getting into today. Like, I don't know. So yeah, in general, first impression, loving it, excited to get farther into it. Yes, very, very excited. So let's go ahead, get back to reading and see what other, like, anxiety is going to come out of this book today. Back with an update. I am chapter 16, 180 pages in. You guys, I can't tell you how much I'm loving this book. I'm absolutely loving. Like, it's so hard not to spoil it. I just want to talk about it with you guys. What I just read, if you've read it and you know what happened right before in chapter 15, I can't. I honestly can't. I'm loving this book. The whole aspect that the writer and the dragon, the bond that they have, and they can talk to each other and, like, their heads, and I love it. I don't know. It's so good. And Violet is my spirit animal. She's literally like, fuck everybody else. Like, I'm gonna do it. Like, yes, no one thought I could do it. I'm gonna do it. So good. And this may be a spoiler, so just go ahead 20 seconds. Xaden? Sir. Yes. That's all I'm gonna say for right now. But I can't explain how much I'm loving this book. I'm having it's like midnight. I'm having a hard time stopping myself. Like, I just want to continue to read it and read some more. I'm contemplating getting the ebook so I can read it in bed, but it's like $15. And I'm like, it's a little much. But it's so good. The writing is amazing. And it's literally from the beginning of the book to like 0 to a 60. Non-stop. Go, 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 go. And every person you think is going to stick around, it's like watching Game of Thrones where you're like, I like this person. I'm cool with it, and they die. And you're like, okay, like, cool. I just cannot express how much I'm just absolutely enjoying this book. Like, everybody is so right. And like the hype, like, I'm not even halfway through. And I don't know what I'm going to do when this book is like done. Like, thank God. I think this is the first, like, the author's come out and said there's going to be 5 books. Make it more. I will read about this nonstop. This whole concept is so good. And the whole development, Violet's character development, loving it. And literally just what chapter 15 has been. It's just been so good. Like, I had a moment where I almost cried because of, I don't know if I can say, I'm going to say Goldie. If you read the book, you'll know what Goldie is. Goldie is fucking adorable, and I want to put her in my pocket. Yeah, so that's my update. I'm falling more and more in love with this book as I read. I've had to stop myself. Like, I'm like, I guess I should hang out with my fiance. I guess I should, like, clean our house and cook dinner. I'm having a hard time because I just want to read the book. Like, I don't know where a stopping point's going to be tonight. Like, am I just going to read the entire time? Maybe. Who knows? But I got to get back because how chapter 15 just ended, I need to continue. So there's my little update for tonight. I'll probably update again in the morning. I'm just enjoying it. I am enjoying my time reading this book. I'm going to be really sad when it's over. So let me just get back to the book. Okay, so it is the next morning. Hello. And I read like 2 more chapters after my last update. I'm on chapter 18, which is 207. I think. And the revelations that are like coming out, like the ties between her and Violet and someone else. I don't want to say their name. I don't want to ruin it for you guys. The ties between her and another person in Fourth Wing is coming to light, and so things are changing. It's going to be interesting. Also, if you hear squeaking, I also have Pepper down here, and she has a little squeaker toy that she's in love with, so you may hear that. But I love this book. I love this book. If you don't hear squeaking, you're going to hear her warthog. She's a warthog toy as well. Honestly, it's so like captivating. Like, it keeps your attention. You know how sometimes you're like, okay, this is a little much. No, like every chapter I want to continue and continue and continue. It's amazing. I'm still getting major Divergent vibes just because of like the college. I don't see any other similarities, but we got to meet the dragons. We got to meet her dragon. We got to meet Goldie, if you know who Goldie is. So cute. I can't wait. So I'm ready to get back to reading. I'm reading downstairs today. I don't know why. I just want to read downstairs. So I'm reading in the living room, and you're going to get to see these little fools just running amok. But let's get back to reading because I'm excited to just get more into it. I'm closing it on 50% of the way through, and I don't know what else can happen, honestly. So much is happening. What else can happen? I don't know. So let's get back to reading. I finished. Took me 3 days, 4 days. I don't know. Didn't take me long. You guys, I don't know how I'm going to sum up how amazing this book was. 5 stars. Like, the hype is so worth it. Like, everybody just talking about how great it is, they're not lying. It was so amazing. Just like, one, the character development, the politics, the action, like everything about this book was so good. There was spice in it. But it wasn't like, in some fantasy or romanticities, you kind of feel like the spice doesn't necessarily fit, doesn't really flow. It flowed. It connected with everything. I loved it. Violet is probably one of my favorite female main characters. And a lot of people are comparing this to ACOTAR. Here's the difference from me. One, Farah and Violet, they're similar but different. In my opinion, Violet catches on a lot quicker. She catches on, and she's not illiterate. There's that difference. But also, she does not put up with any crap when it comes to emotionally, what's the word? Just shitty men. You know what I mean? Farah took a book. Let's be honest. Took a book to be like, oh, you suck. Violet's like, few chapters. She's like, the fuck are you doing? What's happening here? Just Violet's whole development, character development and arc was amazing. The fact that she knows, she's like, I have weaknesses that are unlike anyone else's, and people see me as this vulnerability that I will not make it. But every day she's like, I'm not dying today. Like, I'm not dying today. She proves not just to everybody in the quadrant and in Navarre, really, I hope that's how it is. I'm pretty sure that's how it's said, but she's proving to herself that she can do it. She doesn't want to be coddled, and it comes off so good, so strong. I loved Violet. Like, there were some moments where I'm like, okay, like, this isn't a spoiler really, but because her dragon, she has a hard time staying in the seats. When you read it, it will be explained. And dragons obviously have magic and stuff, but she has a hard time staying in it. Some of those scenes where she's like, no, I can do it. I'm like, bitch, you can't. Stop. But honestly, besides that, she didn't really make any dumb, like, decisions or any, like, being 20, she didn't really make any naive decisions. She really thought about everything, and I think that is because of her training to become a scribe, and instead of having to go into the writers. So I think, like, because of that, she used her mind in ways that really no one else could. And it was just so good to read. One of my favorite things in the book was, like, reading the war game chapters and the gauntlet chapter. Like, all of those scenes were so amazing, and reading, just like it, picturing of what it would be in your head if that entire scene was so good. It's anxiety inducing, you guys. This book is an emotional roller coaster. You were up and down. I cried. Like, the last 100 chapters, I was struggling. I was bawling. The last page of this book, you're just like, jaw drop, what the hell? Thank God the next book's coming out in November. I don't know what we would do if we had to wait longer. I have no idea. You are Violet, obviously. Like, you're reading things from her point of view, but you really are, like, everything you're finding out, you're like, holy crap, you're finding out along with her, and you are feeling the same emotions. And it's so good. Like, the sexual tension in there is good, but it's so amazing. Like, if you don't have this already, go get it. If it's on your TBR already, read it. one, it flew by so quickly. I immediately want to reread it. I'm contemplating, like, I have a flight Thursday, and I'm contemplating listening to the audiobook, because one, I couldn't pronounce many of the names in here. So I'm contemplating just listening to the audio to be like, how do you even pronounce that? So I know what it is. So I may do that. Like, I immediately want to reread this. And, like, I know it's June. Like, it's hard to be like, this is my favorite book of the year. I'm pretty sure this is going to be my favorite book of the year. Until the second one comes out. Who knows? It captures me. And it's the same feeling I got when I read ACOTAR. So that's how I can see people are like, it's on par or better than ACOTAR. It just grabs you by the throat and you do not want to stop reading it. You want to continue to see what's going to happen. Like, every chapter ended and you're like, no, I've got to read more. And I don't know if I said it on an update. A lot of the chapters start with like some sort of quote from something like the unauthorized history of Navarre or the Book of Brennan, just different things. And I love that. Those little snippets of information that you may need later on where you're like, got it. Like, this was mentioned as a little Easter egg and you get it later on. And in the last page, a lot of things that were said in the book, you're like, holy crap, how did I not catch that? How did that pass by me? I gotta know. And the side characters were so amazing. I can see where people are like, it's like ACOTAR, but honestly, it's on a whole other level. It's on its own amazing, but I definitely see where people are like, it's as good or better than ACOTAR. Totally understand that. But I think you have to give credit. So different, if that makes sense. Because ACOTAR, the first book, was like almost a Beauty and the Beast retelling. This is something I've never read before. I don't know if you guys have or not. Let me know down in the comments. But I can't wait for the second one. I will sit here all night and tell you guys how amazing this is. Because it is. And my poor fiance, I kept like stopping. I'm like, oh my God, this is happening. And he's just like, I could care less. I'm like, it's just so good. Like, for God's sakes, there was like a baby dragon carrier. Like, you guys, I don't know if you've seen spoilers of that. Like, drawing, fucking cutest thing ever. Like, reading it, I, one, laughed, but also I was like, it's so freaking cute. I can't. It's just, it's so freaking good. I cannot say it enough. It's so worth the hype. If you, like, I don't think many of the sprayed edges, because this is like a first batch. If you can find one with this, it's great. And I know the second one, if you pre-order it, the first batch will also have sprayed edges. But just go get this book. Honestly. I don't know what else to say. Like, I don't want to say more about spoilers. I'll probably later on, probably in my monthly wrap-up, I will have spoilers in that. I didn't want to give spoilers in this because, honestly, you guys, I want you guys to experience this. I do not want to spoil it for you. Try to avoid spoilers as much as possible. I saw a few, but it didn't really matter, so it was fine. But honestly, go check out Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. Again, second book comes out this November. If you've already read it, please, let's talk about it in the comments. Like, I can't, honestly. Again, if you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button as well as the bell to notify you when I upload. I've had so much fun doing this reading vlog. I don't know what I'm going to read next, but you guys will know in the next video. And until then, bye!